This is X, and today, man, I'm going to be teaching y'all a simple fix for a commercial lawnmower. Um, whether it be a Z-turn, a tractor, and some walk-behinds, these things are complicated at times, but a lot of times we overcomplicate what's wrong with them. I don't just say that because I've been doing it for a while. I say that because it's true. But today I'm going to show you a simple fix for a commercial lawnmower. And today we'll be working on a Wright stander. But this is usually a simple fix for any model commercial lawnmower when applied right. I know we waste a lot of time, working on these things, but sometimes the fixes are really, really simple. If you just apply a few simple things, you can save yourself a lot of time and a lot of money. So today, I'm going to show you how to do just that. Let's get at it.
Peace, folks. This is X from T.P.O.T Media, and I'm back again after a long hiatus with another version of X Explains. Now, shout out to my boy BMT, my brother down here from another mother down in the South here with me. He convinced me to go ahead and start making some of these things again. So I'm going to do it. Now, those of you who know me, y'all know what I do for a living. I'm a mechanical engineer specializing in mostly power equipment, commercial lawnmowers like the one you see on your screen right now. I also deal with bulldozers, payloaders, backhoes, outboard motors, motorcycles, and all kinds of other shit. So that's what I do for a living. So I decided today to show y'all something really, really quick. And this is probably something for a person who really cuts grass seriously, like a commercial grass cutter. You probably don't have this in your damn garage to cut your little yard that you got in the front of your house. This is more of a commercial thing. But I figure I'll show it to you anyway, because you never know, because I know some of you brothers started businesses this year, and you probably have these kind of mowers, and this may help you out. And you won't have to bring somebody like me, because I'm going to charge your ass all kinds of money if I got to deal with this shit. But anyway, we're sitting here today, and in front of me, I'm behind the shop, and I have a Wright stander in front of me. It's got the Kawasaki commercial FX.This on it, all right? 22 horsepower. This thing is somewhat of a beast. But it was brought to me today with a problem. Now I'll show y'all what that problem is. Let's see, we go here, right? Turning the key. And it's not starting, right? Now, mind you, I took one of the spark plugs loose because this is a dual cylinder, meaning that it has two pistons, not one, right? So I took the spark plug loose because I automatically assumed it wasn't getting spark, right? And this is after checking the carburetor. I checked the carburetor and all that shit. All that's fine, so I'll even show y'all. See, when I hit that, that's the fuel pump. See, gas shooting out, fuel pump's working. I checked the carburetor earlier. Carburetor's working fine. It's receiving gas like it's supposed to, and all of that. So, next thing I do is I go to my spark. Now, most of the time they will tell you to use a spark tester, and I use spark testers too. But I'm also old school, right? And I know that if I take that spark plug out and put it up against something metal, like so, I should see the arc of that spark plug when I hit it. Let me get in a little closer. See? Notice. Nothing. There's no spark there. I also did the same thing that I just showed y'all just now on the other side. See that? Did the same thing. No spark. So, what does that mean, folks? We have good fuel, we have good carburation. So, now we have to go to the electrical components, right? I pulled the fuse. Fuse look good, right? Put that back in there. Let's get that back in there. Working on my left hand. You know I am a righty, I'm not a southpaw. Trying to hold the goddamn camera too. Let's go ahead and get that back in there. Like so. So now, we know we got a problem with spark. Now, many people will tell you, they'll say, well, you know, it's probably those ignition coils, X. But the thing is, on these Kawasaki's, more often than not, those ignition coils will pretty much last the life of the machine. And even with that, they wouldn't just stop automatically, and it's not that often that both of them will quit at the same time. That's highly unlikely, you know, almost improbable for that to happen, where both of them just stop sparking at the same time. So that means we got another issue. That means that we either got a bad ground switch somewhere, probably on our key switch, or it could be something with our safeties. Now, I know that this particular unit here, because I've been working on it for a while, only really has one real safety switch that you have to be concerned with, and that's this safety switch here, underneath here. And this is for your parking brake here. Yeah. When your parking brake is down, that safety switch is pressed, and that'll keep the sucker from rolling out, or the blades coming on while you have the parking brake engaged, right? So as you can see, if you look, I've disconnected that switch and I've jumped it with a little piece of wire, right, to make sure that's not our problem, right? So y'all saw me turn it, right? Y'all saw me turn it, and we still didn't have no spark, even though I had that right there, right? So we know it's not this. This is not our problem right now, all right? It's not. So we're gonna go around the machine and see. I'm gonna save you some trouble, because those other dudes, they'll tell you, oh, you know, take this off, take that off, all this kind of nonsense. See, me, I'm not gonna tell you that, because see, I'm gonna go right to the components, right? Now, like I said, you see that spark plug, right? See that spark plug? Now that spark plug is laying up against the body of the machine, which is going to give us a ground, right? Because that's what creates your arc from your spark plug, right? Your ground. Now, most people will tell you when you got both of your ignition coils, right? Well, let me explain what your ignition coil does. Your ignition coil sits above your flywheel, and as your flywheel turns, there's magnets on said flywheel, and as that flywheel spins at X amount of RPMs, it creates electromagnetic current. That electromagnetic current is transferred through that ignition coil and goes into your ignition chamber. Now, people will tell you spark plugs create spark. Anyone that tells you that a spark plug creates spark, get the fuck away from them. They're an idiot. A spark plug does not create spark. What a spark plug does is it takes that electromagnetic current and it creates an arc where the electromagnetic current jumps from that point to that point. That's why there has to be a gap. There's an arc that goes through there, because the electromagnetic current is not created by the spark plug, it's created by your armature. And your armature, the only reason why it creates spark is because your flywheel is spinning and that magnet is going past it, and that's what's creating your electromagnetic current. So anyone that tells you a spark plug creates spark, get the hell away from them. They're an idiot. So what do we got going on here? Our fuses are good. Our safety switch is good. The machine's turning over. It's getting fuel pump working, carburetor working. Everything's working, right? Now, people will tell you to take all these covers off, take this cover off and unhook the ground wire, the kill switch from the coils, and if it runs, that means that I'm not going to do all of that, even though I can. Take the breather off, take the cover off of the engine, and all this other shit. We're not doing that because, see, we're smarter here at my shop. Yeah, we're smarter. We do things a little faster. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to check the components. You go up under here. Let's see if I can get the camera at the right angle, y'all. You go up under here. You'll see something called the relay. All right? Let me grab that. Now you see this relay here? That's 5 nodes on it, okay? 3 of them are horizontal. The other 2 are vertical. Or if you flip it around, you got 2 of them horizontal and 3 of them vertical. But either way, right? Now, my guess is it's this. Because I've checked everything else. I've checked the safety switches and everything else, and all that other stuff is working. So my guess is this. There's only one thing left, right? So obviously this is probably bad. Your fuses are good. All your safety switches are working. I mean, it's not shooting spark. This is probably your problem. And here, we're a fully equipped shop. So what I'm going to do, reach over here, grab another one. See? Same thing. You want to make sure these fuses, let me grab the old one. You want to make sure these fuses have the same type of ends. Now notice they're different colors, but they are the same type of relays. My bad, I called it a fuse. It's actually a relay. I believe it's called your ignition relay. Same type of relay, right? This one's jump here. Get rid of that. Now when you go to look for this stuff, right? Now you probably can pick one of these relays up at an auto parts store. You definitely can pick it up if you come to see me. We keep playing this shit around. I buy these things by the box. I always have this kind of stuff laying around. But if you're not a person who's too savvy with this stuff and you don't know what this stuff is, let me tell you what you're going to have to do. One thing you got to understand, especially about mowers, especially big mowers like this, folks, very important. If you want to find parts for it, you have 2. Remember, 2 separate things on this mower, right? You have your mower's engine and you have your mower's body, right? Your mower's body. Now this is a Wright Standard X, right? That's the maker of the body. That's not the maker of the engine. The engine is made by Kawasaki. So when you go down and you're looking for parts, anything that sits on the body of this is not considered part of the engine. Let me say that again. If it sits on the body, it's not part of the engine. Now when you're looking for engine parts, you're looking for all the stuff that's connected to this engine, to this motor. Whether it be your carburetor covers, your starter down here, starter coils, things of that nature. All that stuff is part of the engine. Valve cover, gaskets, main seals, all that kind of stuff is part of the engine. But everything else is part of the mower's body. Now, if you're looking for engine parts, you're probably going to look, especially on a Kawasaki, you're going to look here, right? There you have your engine model, engine code, serial number, all that stuff is there. But you only want to look here if you're looking for carburetor parts, if you're looking for inner ignition parts, if you're looking for valve cover gaskets, if you're looking for your oil filters, things of that nature, all part of the engine, right? But these relays are not attached to your engine. They are attached to where? To your mower's body. So, what you want to do is go down here, and they're usually pretty much in similar places. You know, they're pretty noticeable. Here, you have your model, your serial number, and all that on your mower. So when you go to look for this relay, you want to check these numbers, write them down, take a picture of them, whatever whatever you need to do, go ahead, write them down, take a picture of them, and this is where you're going to be able to find parts for the body. When you're talking about your pumps, when you're talking about your hoses, deck pieces, deck belts, pulleys, things of that nature, it's all going to be listed under these. Because if you come to a guy like me and you need X amount of parts, these are going to be the first things I ask you. I'm going to ask you name, model. I'm going to ask you make, model, and serial number. I'm going to ask you make, model, and serial number of the machine, because I can put those numbers into my computer and pull it up, whatever you need. All right. So remember that your model numbers, your make, model, serial numbers for the stuff on your body, make, model, serial numbers for the things on your engine. Right now, we need a relay. So if you were going to buy a relay, because it's not on the engine, you would be giving them those body numbers, and they'll be able to pull it up and be able to tell you what type of relay you need. I've been doing this for 3 decades, so I know what this is on site. I mean, just by looking at it, but I don't expect everybody to know what I know because I've been doing this a while, right? So you get this relay and you just stick it in there where the last one was. Pretty simple. Get the camera in here. There it is. There's our opening there. And you take a look at it. Make sure you're lining it up the way it's supposed to be. All right. You go ahead and you stick it on back in there. Probably should have did this from the rear, folks, but down in there. Make sure it's nice and snug. Don't squeeze on those things too tight because you could bend those little blades, and then you're going to have a problem. So just stick it in there snug till you feel it in there, and just let it go at that. All right. So let's see if OX was right. So now that I've done all of that, right? I went ahead, I put the other relay in, right? That's the old one, it's the old one, it was crap. Put the new relay in. I'm gonna see if y'all are gonna be able to zoom in on that. Maybe y'all might be able to see the spark. Can y'all see it? Did y'all see it? Kind of hard to do it. I guess this is why they want you to use a spark tester, but normally when I'm doing this, I'm not doing this with a camera, So, like I said, shout out to my boy BMT. He's like, oh, X, you need to start making some of these. Flex your skill. So might have enough ground there, y'all. Well, you know what? Let's turn it around. Do it like that. There we go. Might have enough there. See if I can get it so y'all can see the spark. spark? I know you did. I know you did. Yeah, so she's sparking now. We zoom out. And when I come back, something tells me that this thing is going to be starting. Now I'll be back in, now it's probably going to take me about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes to button this thing back up, but by the magic of freaking video and cameras, I'll be back in like 10 seconds. And abracadabra, I'm back. Now you can see everything's been put back together. I went ahead, I put my hose from my breather to my carburetor back on, put my fuel pump line back on. It's all buttoned up. As you can see, both spark plugs are back in there, right? And you remember we changed that starter relay up under the panel. Now let's see if it's gonna work. Here. Abracadabra. Abracadabra. Yeah, so you got a machine. That's my brother. If you have one of these machines, especially the ones with the dual cylinders, which means it's got dual cylinders, that means it's got dual armatures, dual ignition coils, and you take them off and you check the spark. Now, I'm not telling you not to use a spark tester. I mean, I have like 50 spark testers laying around here, but you can just as soon just take that spark plug out with a regular. It's usually, a spark plug is usually a deep 5/8 or a 11/16 or 13/15, something like that. Those are 13/15 spark plugs. You get your deep socket, you take them out, take the spark plug, hook it back to your ignition coil, and just touch it on a piece of metal, man, and just turn the key. Just remember, when you hold in the spark plug, hold the spark plug on the rubber piece. Don't hold it on the metal, because it'll shock the shit out of you. Alright? Hold it at the top where the ignition coil is. Grab it right here, where the rubber is, and just hold it against a piece of metal, man. And if you don't see any spark on either side, I mean, if it's not a safety switch, if you checked all your safety switches and all your safety switches are doing what they're supposed to do, I mean, more than likely, it's this damn relay underneath, up under there. Alright? You have any problem, just hit me up, write me, I appreciate y'all coming through, for another edition of X Explains. And I say again, shout out to my boy BMT, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have did this shit, y'all. But like I said, man, I appreciate y'all coming through, man, for another edition of X Explains, man. And hopefully this helped you out. Now we're gonna crank this thing up and take it for a spin.
only from T.P.O.T.